Hello, Teresa Van Leesh out here in front of this criminal's office. Tony Booty. He's a politician in Kelmscott, Armidale, and killing my brother in that Leshen building. You know, this is a David and Goliath moment here. It's a David and Goliath moment. You know, when David and a young man, and he slew the giant Goliath with a slingshot and a rock, and because they were, you know, destroying his people. And that's what these criminals in our parliaments are doing, killing Australians. So David knocked down the giant Goliath with a rock and a sling, and he knocked him out, and then he took the giant sword, the Goliath sword, and he took that sword and he cut off his head. And then he and his people, they hunted down the Philistines, the Goliath people, and they slew all them, and they took all their plunder as a reward. And that's what God did. He gave them a reward. Now my brother David Peter Van Leesh he's in that building over 10 weeks. And killing him, keeping him locked away. And this criminal here, this fucking criminal, I wrote to him, I sent him my brilliant book. And I wrote to him, I spoke to his staff, doing absolutely nothing. So he needs to be jailed. And the one in Byford as well, I saw them and I'm going to visit them again Monday. And they don't do anything, they have to be jailed. They've been killing Australians with this horrific psychiatric practice and drugs since 1811. That's 214 years killing Australians. They killed about 1 million Australians, and they bring in millions of foreigners for the economy and to keep them in power. And they've got it rigged, all these Labor criminals, all these Labor political criminals. They're all criminals, they're not winning. They're saying they're winning, but they're not winning. Labor, federal and state. And I said the 9th of November, and Sunday the 9th of November, the 16th of November, and the 23rd of November to go in front of all these politicians' office, in front of across the whole nation, and stand in front of these criminal politicians' offices at that time and call out for them to be arrested lawfully and peacefully. Now here's the 2-page document that I've made it up with the law, criminal charges and arrest powers under the law, the Commonwealth law. Now, it's today's the 20th September, it's my birthday, and it's David's birthday as well, and those bastards won't let me go and visit him or talk to him or anything. There's people been calling that building now in Armidale, WA, Leshen, across Australia, and they're lying. The staff there are killers, and they lie about everything, as you would expect from serial killers, those psychiatric staff. They're all foreigners as well. 90% of the staff there were from Africa and Asia, killing white Australians. They killed a lot of Aboriginal Australians with this practice. But when people are calling, they're lying to them and saying, oh, no, you can't talk to David, or, you know, oh, David is not being kept here against his will, and all this fucking bullshit. And that bitch judge in the SAT, Hannah Leslie, destroyed my family's rights and destroyed David's rights, and keeping him locked up, drugged, keeping me away from my guardianship application, and they'll destroy your whole family. And they'll even get all these government criminals, these political government criminals, they'll even get your own family to fight with each other and all this over this fucking bullshit. And then you've got people in society who've murdered their own relatives and neighbours and people that they don't like with these horrific lock-up, psych, forced drugging, kill orders and all this, and it's just absolutely horrific. You know, they kill people with the COVID injection, with these psychiatric injections, and with the euthanasia injections, and the police kill people with the gun and the needle because the police are imbeciles. They're locking up Australians. Now, why don't the police and the political people and the psychiatric staff all just go around and kill each other rather than killing the population? You know? I mean, how evil and criminal and disgusting and dangerous and violent are these political people in Australia who are doing this to our entire nation for 214 years, which I proved in chapter 5 of my book. I proved it, and that bitch judge yesterday at the SAT, you know, she's just a criminal, that lady, and all those judges in the SAT, they're all criminals. So today, on the 20th of September, my birthday and David's birthday, a David and Goliath moment, which I'll start. If you don't want to wait till the 9th of November, just start today or tomorrow. So the objective is to publicly gather in front of federal and state Labor politicians' offices lawfully and peacefully, publicly call for the arrest of such politicians, read out with a microphone as follows, and film and publish it. Arrest powers under the Crimes Act 1914 Commonwealth. 3 WA, arrest powers without warrant by constables. 3Z, Section 3Z, arrest powers without warrant by other persons, by the Australian people. Section 3ZA, warrants for arrest. Section 3ZB, power to enter premises to arrest. Section 3ZD, person to be informed of arrest grounds. Section 15AA, bail not to be granted under any circumstances. Use any other Commonwealth state laws, arrest person powers available. And email these public arrest power videos to police stations in your state or wherever you want. And the charges are 25 years imprisonment for these murderers and thieves and rapists and you know, they just lie about everything as well, the fucking criminals. So, under the Crimes Act 1900 Part 2, offences against sovereigns. That's actually in the law. Part 3, Division 1, homicide, murder and manslaughter, because they're killing us and stealing from us in so many ways for over 200 years. Division 2, conspiring to commit murder. Division 3, attempts to murder. Division 4, threats in writing. Division 5, aids and abets suicide. Division 6, acts causing danger to life, bodily harm. Division 8 and 9, assaults on the people. Schedule 2 of the Criminal Code Act 1995, Commonwealth, Section 81, Subsection 1, treason. Section 80.1, Subsection 2, assisting in treasonous offences. This is federal and state politicians, Labor mostly, because they're controlling the parliaments, state and federal parliaments. Section 268.4 to 7, genocide. 268.8, crimes against humanity. Murder, Section 268.9, crimes against humanity, extermination. Section 268.4, I just read that. Criminal Code Act 1995, Commonwealth, Chapter 5, Part 5, Division 80, treason and assisting in treasonous offences, treachery, sedition, urging violence against the Constitution and urging violence against the Australian people and genocidal factors. Division 82, sabotage. Division 91, espionage. Division 100 to 105A, planning, urging and using terrorism on the people. Division 115, harming Australians. That's actually a law, harming Australians. Chapter 7, Part 7, Division 130 to 132, lying, stealing. Division 133 to 137, fraud, dishonesty. Division 138 to 139, threats towards Commonwealth public officials, where the people in the public are claiming that as public officials. Commonwealth public officials. Division 140 to 145, bribery and forgery. Criminal Code Act 1995, Commonwealth. Chapter 8, genocide factors, crimes against humanity and related offences. Division 268, subdivisions A, B and C. Politicians are guilty of almost everything in this division. Subsection B, Section 268.2 to 7, genocide by killing, causing serious body and mental harm, deliberately inflicting painful conditions on human life, lockdown conditions, and also when they lock people away in these buildings, innocent defenceless people, it's torture, it's assault, torture and attempted murder, so that's inflicting painful conditions. And any building where they put Australian people without trial or without hearings or, you know, I mean the judges are all doing it anyway, the SAT judges. So it's totally criminal. It's assault, torture and attempted murder, you know, and the criminal charges there should be assault, torture, attempted murder, and stealing, and murder and stealing and crimes against humanity. Okay, subdivision, I've just read that, like painful conditions on human life. Also in those divisions, imposing sterilisation, they have that in the law in Australia still, in the state laws. And you know, ECT kills people too. It causes brain damage, it's just horrific. Forced drugging, psychiatric and vax, which is killing people, and prolific abortion under the law, measures intended to prevent birth. So especially late-term abortions after 12 weeks, that's just murder. Forcibly, that's the fault of men as well as women and the politicians who vigorously put it in the law. Forcibly transferring and stealing the people's children. Subdivision C, crimes against humanity, section 268.8, murder, section 268.9, extermination, section 268.10, enslavement, section 268.1, arbitrary imprisonment, section 268.13, torture, section 268.14, rape, section 268.15 to 17. Section slavery, enforced prostitution, enforced pregnancy, section 268.18, enforced sterilisation. Oh, they have it in the law, the state law is absolutely horrific, which is a type of murder, sterilisation. I prove that in my book. Section 268.19, sexual violence. Section 268.20, persecution of the people. Section 268.21, stealing people. Section 268.22. Apartheid towards the Australian population, section 268.23, other inhumane acts. And you know, section 268.21, stealing people, they steal people's children. You know, the worst thing you can do is steal people's children. It's even worse than stealing money in a building or anything like that. It's absolutely horrific, you know, absolutely horrific to steal people's children like that. And they're just ruthless, you know, ruthless killers, and they steal everything. They're just horrific. Constitution Act 1900, Section 51, XXXI, seizure of property. The Australian people own politicians' offices. Section 51, XX1X, applied special human rights power. The Australian sovereigns. Section 51, XXX1X, incidental national applied power. The Crimes Act 1914, Section 43. 1. Arrest, subsection 1. Arrest anyone who attempts to obstruct, pervert or defeat your cause of justice. The Crimes Act 1914, Section 15GE, subsection 2B. Fraud, lockdown conditions based on lies and fraud, and everything else they do is fraudulent. Section 24AA, treachery. Crimes Act 1958, Victoria, Section 9A, treason. Any other state criminal codes and state confiscation, seizure, property acts apply. The Electoral Act of 1918, that's the Commonwealth Electoral Act, proves Labor politicians rig elections. They didn't win. Prolific other evidence proves Labor and Liberal politicians rig federal and state elections. And it's rigged in the law that they rig elections. So that's like cheating and stealing and you know, stealing the people's democratic rights. The date, Sundays, 9th of November 2025, 16th of November and the 23rd of November, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Encourage Australians to gather and attend in public in front of all Labor and Liberal, federal and state politicians, because they're controlling the parliaments at the moment, and encourage Australians to speak, to gather and speak with a microphone or without a microphone, it's up to you. And publish all the addresses and the locations of the Labor and Liberal Labor, state and federal politicians to do this, just starting with them, because they're controlling the state and federal parliaments, and they're saying they're winning, but they're not winning. The only people that vote for them are foreigners that they bring in, you know. And someone's beeping at me, and the foreigners that they bring in, but, you know, and maybe a few workers and all that sort of thing, but basically it's, you know, it's just, nobody's voting for them. They're just criminals. This one here, criminal, killing my brother David, the monster. And this is written by Teresa Van Leesha, Australian-born teacher for 30 years. And my campaign 2025, Make Me Your Governor-General Australia. If you want me to email you these 2 pages, front and back, that's all. One document, I'll email it to you across Australia, and you can email it to all your contacts across Australia, and everybody gather on those dates. Email me and I'll email it to you, teresalegend@hotmail.com. It's on my Facebook and YouTube, and you can email it to all the people, all Australians across the country, or text me and phone me or text me, and I can send you the email, you know, text me your email address and I can send it to you, whatever way. I prefer to talk to people on the phone, actually. So, there we go. The David and Goliath moment. I'm doing this for my brother David Van Leesha. He's locked in that building over 10 weeks, can't get out of the building, drugging him with clozapine and paliperidone and all these horrible, shitty drugs. And I'm doing it for millions and millions of Australians. I'm doing it for my parents, and I'm also doing it for millions of Australians, past, present and future. So not just my brother, but for everybody I'm doing this. Thank you.